Hey guys, it's M Galaxy and welcome to the camera comparison between the Apple iPhone 11 and the Samsung Galaxy S9. Hey guys, it's M Galaxy and welcome to the camera comparison between the Apple iPhone 11 and the Samsung Galaxy S9. 1.5 year difference between the two. I'm very curious to see if the Samsung Galaxy S9 camera can keep up with the latest Apple iPhone. We will compare the image and video quality both in daytime and low light. Both were set to 12 megapixel setting, HDR on the S9 was set on auto mode, Smart HDR was turned on the iPhone. This will be very interesting. So starting with the daylight video quality. As I'm walking, you can notice that both provide fantastic image stabilization. But I think the iPhone 11 is a bit more effective, especially in handling those small movements. Whole footage looks just slightly more fluid and cinematic. There is more jittering going on in the S9's footage. And to be clear, I turned on its electronic stabilization also. The Galaxy S9 shows a little bit more noise than I would like to see, because of the extended dynamic range in comparison with the previous Galaxy S generations. iPhone, however, not only has much less noise, as you can see in this 200% magnification, but it also has crazy dynamic range in the video. I have to admit, this is where the iPhone shines, because level of detail is honestly very similar, if not the same. The S9 may add more sharpness in a post-process, but the overall level of detail is comparable, and I think Apple should focus on this more, as they advertise it to be that great in the video department. Another small gripe with the iPhone 11's video are the artifacts in moving scenes, which are not present on the Galaxy S9. So both have pros and cons, but I will pick the iPhone 11 as a winner because of the better stabilization and fabulous dynamic range, which is just hard to resist. And now let's take some steals. In the first picture you can truly see how powerful the iPhone's HDR is. And the Samsung is no slouch really, slightly less information in the sky area, but the picture is still very impressive. And if you will go into the crop, you can see the iPhone unfortunately has a lot of grain in those kind of scenarios. I've seen this already in the Google Pixel, and I think it is the price to pay for the terrific dynamic range. In the second picture there is again more similarity than difference. There is some in the clouds, but really, car, road and the sky area are exposed in a great way on both. Once again, they are really close. It shows the S9 is definitely not that outdated, and I'm curious to see how the S9 would compare. No surprise, slightly more details of the clouds in the iPhone, but in my eyes, this tree is more distinguished and natural looking on the Galaxy S9. But on average, I would say the iPhone tends to have better color accuracy, which I will show you more explicitly with some macro shots later. The Samsung often misrepresents colors of, for example, grass. It has that yellowish tint to it. As for sharpness, the S9 has that famous Samsung digital sharpening look, but it's fortunately not as disturbing as it was in the past generations. And if you will look at this spider's picture, you will notice level of detail is almost the same on both. The biggest difference lies in the software sharpening in my opinion. In this case, I would say the S9 looks better, but there are times when it looks just unnecessarily artificial, like with the sunflowers picture, so it's a mixed bag. However, the most important thing, at least from my perspective, is that both share almost identical level of detail in daytime pictures. That is a great news for you, Samsung fans. Another thing to mention is focusing distance, which is better on the Galaxy S9. As you see, as I got closer, the S9 was able to keep the focus without a problem on this tire, while the iPhone ended up blurry. This is quite a disappointment I have with the iPhone 11's camera, because I love to shoot macro pictures and I bet some of you too. Color accuracy, like I said earlier, is rather the iPhone's advantage. Samsung is by far not the worst, but it's simply not as good. This red flower, very problematic scene for many cameras, iPhone was just able to perform this task better. It's also generally more consistent in the proper exposure of pictures. When shooting in auto mode, both have pretty similar depth of field. But let's not forget the S9 has variable aperture. I always tell, I have mixed feelings about this. But when you switch it manually to the f1.5 in the Pro mode, of course, it has significant edge over the iPhone in terms of bokeh. Lastly, I couldn't resist it, dynamic range is so sweet on both, but that iPhone, man, it's just crazy. On the side note, I should also mention that the iPhone 11 has an ultra-wide angle lens. I won't make a full comparison because obviously there is none on the S9, but if you're interested in that, I can tell you it's a pretty cool feature, and I love its smooth transition between the two cameras in a video. Moving to the low light performance, I don't think there is any big difference aside from how they are programmed to behave. iPhone 11 has tendency to make picture as bright as possible, unfortunately in exchange for higher amount of noise than in the Galaxy S9. In those shots I prefer the S9, but the major difference lays in the night mode. The iPhone 11 has automatic night mode, which works just great, and I've never had to turn it on or off manually. In the S9, on the other hand, you have to turn it on by yourself and look at those shots, the difference is just tremendous. It may not look as appealing here, but note that I take those pictures in a pitch black, where I couldn't see anything. iPhone 11's night mode is definitely stunning. As for low light video, both are far from perfect, but if I had to choose, the iPhone is clearly better. It has much less noise and less jittering caused by the electronic stabilization. In conclusion, the Samsung Galaxy S9 was able to keep up with the new iPhone, and was even better in terms of a few things, like shorter focusing distance and better bokeh in a Pro mode. I think it's slightly lost in terms of low light video, stabilization and night mode. Honestly, I was expecting much more from the new iPhone 11, especially in terms of so loudly advertised the best video quality. But that's topic for another video. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching and check out my other videos if you want. Peace.